Welcome to the Heal Your Past, Master Your Future podcast. I'm your host, Tracy Malone, a certified holistic counsellor and coach. In this episode, I'm going to talk to you about the wounded healer. This is a concept that was the very first module of my holistic counselling course back in 2007. We were told everyone who sits in front of you is you. So you have to be healed enough. You have to have healed enough of your own wounds to be able to hear them and to help them. And so that's what we went through in that very first module, was how to heal ourselves enough to be able to be present for the client that sits in front of us. We are unconsciously attracted to those who carry a similar story to us. It's why you meet someone and you're like, wow, I know exactly what it is that you're talking about. It happens in friendships, it happens in relationships, and it also happens in therapy. And coaches, everything. Everyone that you go and sit in front of, you usually do so because they hold a similar story to yours. So if I had clients that come to me and start talking about their own blocks and their own traumas, and I have the same blocks and I have the same traumas that I have not healed, then I'm not much help. Because if I haven't healed them, I'm either blocked or triggered when they're telling me about it. So it's really important that my personal development, my own therapy, my own healing continues throughout my life so that I can continue to level up as my clients do. And I'm always a couple of steps further along than my clients, and I don't mean that in any other way than a literal timeline way, because then when they come to me, I can sit from a healed space. So people won't choose me if they unconsciously can feel that I actually haven't healed that within myself. So I just mean in a timeline space, that ahead in that way. And when I choose support from somebody else, I choose someone that's further along in their timeline than I am, because they can then do that for me as well. So why am I talking about this on a general podcast? What has this got to do with anyone who's not actually a healer or a counsellor or a coach? That's because we all have a bit of wounded healer within us. And I wanted you to understand that concept, to understand why it is you might be doing what you do every day. We are all responding every day from one of two places: our healed self or our wounded self. For many people, even me, and especially me, especially anyone who goes into the healing or therapy field, we do what we do the job that we do, we choose the job that we do because there's an unmet need from our childhood that we're now trying to meet for others. How does that work? How many times do you listen to other people's problems because no one listened to yours? How many times do you always make somebody feel better and you want to validate their experience because nobody validated your experience when you were a child? If you were someone who decided that it was your job to make your parents feel better when you were younger because you could see they weren't coping, and we energetically can hand ourselves over as children and say, don't worry, I'll do that for you. So you unconsciously become the healer of your family, so then you go out into the world and become a healer because you're still actually trying to make mummy or daddy feel better. This is what subconsciously is running us if we're working from this space of the wounded healer. I can still do the work that I do from a place of the healed healer instead of the wounded healer. Many years ago, I was sitting and I was wondering, because this came into my consciousness, and I was like, oh my God, how many things am I doing on a daily basis that are unconscious from my wounds? How many things am I doing that are actually from a healed space? How much am I doing every day from this place of, well, it was never done for me, so I need to make sure nobody else feels the way that I did when I was a child? That is a dynamic that has an unbalanced energy exchange. And that's what I was coming to realize. This is why I'm so exhausted all the time. This is why I'm not charging enough for my sessions. This is why I'm giving people free advice 24/7. all because I was working from a place of unhealed trauma. And so here is what I did, and here is what I thought about. The more I healed my childhood wounds, and I was like, all right, well, let's look at this. This is my work, and it's sneaking into my work instead of me actually doing my work and becoming my own client. I was actually allowing it to seep into my work in an unconscious way many years ago. The more I looked at this and went, okay, I can see what's running this behavior now. I'm going to heal that and meet that need within myself. The more I was able to become conscious around this, do the healing, then I could have very clear boundaries so that I wasn't exhausted all the time, so that I could allow other people to actually have problems outside of my workplace and not feel the need to heal them. I didn't need to go about making people feel better because of my childhood wounds, and it never happened to me as a child. It's something where I feel innately healed within myself, and I can easily hold the space for somebody else without there having to be this big yucky energy exchange of, if I do this for you, maybe it'll heal me, which is where the energy exchange gets quite tricky. I want you to have a think about now what it is that you do for people and why is it that you do what you do. I know somebody who is a home loan specialist, but their passion is to actually help single mothers get homes. And that comes from a deep need of wanting them to feel empowered and safe in their own world. And when we looked at it more deeply, it's because that's something that they didn't have. And so there's this beautiful reason for them to be going out and doing this incredible work. And so have a real think about, why do you do what you do? And what is it that you offer? Most of the time, what you're offering and what you're doing in the world, you're actually meeting a core need. Advertising and everyone else will tell you you're solving a problem. I say you're meeting a core need. This is the new way to do marketing and advertising, by the way, for anyone listening. What's the core need that you're meeting? For me, the biggest core need that I meet for most people every single day is safety. The one thing that they didn't receive when they were a child was a feeling of safety in any moment, which then caused a wound, which then caused all the other things that went on beyond that. And so I provide a whole list of things for people. But when I look at the core wound, the one thing that I'm providing for clients every day, it is safety. A safe space for them to heal, a safe place for them to come and look at all parts of themselves that they want to look at to heal. So what is it that you are actually giving people on a daily basis? Are you giving them their time back? I know people who do, say, if you do something like outdoor gardening and mowing lawns and things like that, you think, I'm not meeting a core need. You are. You're giving people back their time. And time is actually the most precious thing we have. We have resources that are infinite and available to us at all times, and they are love and they are money. We can always make and generate more of that. Time is not something that we can generate more of. So it is literally our most precious resource. So maybe you're giving that to people. Really understanding what it is that you do for others helps you understand yourself more. So now I've given you a few options and you've thought about what it is that you actually give to others. Is that something that you got a lot of in your childhood? Or is that something that you had to fight for? When it comes down to time, did you have to fight to have time with your parents? Was it something that nobody around you had a lot of? If you could have one more thing in life, would it be time with somebody precious to you? What is the driver behind why time is so important for you to be giving back to other people? Safety is a big one, like I said before. A lot of us who go into therapy didn't have that feeling of safety when we were a child. Not blaming anyone's parents, because I've talked about family constellations and ancestral trauma before. It's really important when I talk about core wounds. They are created from the parenting and the environment that we received and that we were within. But that doesn't mean that those people, those parents of ours, those family members, whomever it was, are evil in any way. They haven't done anything wrong or bad. They were literally doing the best they had with the tools that they had on offer. Ancestral healing, we look back and we can go, there are just repeating patterns of trauma that's coming down through the system. So I don't speak about this to slight any parents in any way. And so when I talk about a lack of safety from my own childhood, it's not in any way putting my parents down. They literally and in every way did the best they could with what they had available to them. And they have their own stories, which are not mine to tell. So safety is from not having that as a child. Now you've got the thing that you didn't really have as a child. How do you give that to yourself now? And why is it so important? If I am delivering my work, if people are coming to me and I haven't given myself a feeling of safety, then how on earth can I give that to another person if I don't have that myself? If you are giving someone time through whatever it is that you're doing, if you're not giving that to yourself, how do you give yourself time to get to know yourself, to understand your needs, to give time back to your family and the people that you love? If you're able to do that yourself and give that to yourself, then you might find that your business becomes more efficient, that you're able to ask for that pay rise that you've been worried about not feeling good enough to ask for. Can you see how where we go out into the world and we look to give others that thing that we never got ourselves, that the key is becoming that which we want to give to others is the way to live an empowered life. Remember, this podcast is called Heal Your Past, Master Your Future. One of the ways that you become a master of your future is to understand at your core why it is you're doing what you're doing. Give that to yourself first, and then you'll be able to easily give it to others from an empowered place. The energy exchange is really clear then. You're able to be paid what you're worth. Everything will be clearer and cleaner energetically in all of the exchanges you do because you've met that need within yourself. So I'm going to leave that with you. And if you have any questions, shoot them through to me and just go, I don't know what you're talking about. It's a really easy thing for me to see. And so you might want to book a session with me. You might want to shoot me a message, something like that. It's a really easy one to do. And it can make a massive change in how you're delivering what it is that you're doing. I delivered this to a business group the other day and I saw them the next week and they were like, oh my God, the change I've made by just understanding that has been huge. So I really hope that this has been an empowering episode for you to really learn something about yourself and really adjust yourself right into your power. And you can connect with me anyway through the website and socials. The links are in the show notes as per usual. Remember, healing your past and mastering your future is within your reach. Together, we can uncover the power within you to create a life filled with joy, purpose, and fulfillment. Thank you again for joining me on this episode. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations and insights on the Heal Your Past, Master Your Future podcast.